but the settings make a difference. So guys, after we have completed the silk, now we're going to take our first guide in the center of her hair, right in the center. We're going to cut this entire haircut with very limited clips, using gravity and using how we hold the hair to create the shape. So we're going to go in right on her kind of shoulder blade. Right at the top is where we don't want to have her neck fully exposed. We don't want it to have any the nape area showing. We do want this to fall on her hairline. So we're using the clippers to create that round, 0 degree perimeter. There is going to be a little movement northwest, not northwest, but east-west, right? We're going to, because we want to be able to have it to be elongated around her jawline. So we're pulling that hair from behind her ear, ultimately from her jawline back to that guide in the center of her hair. So we're pulling for direction, right? But the angle is going to be a 0 degree angle, because we're not trying to lift, right? We're trying to cut this in natural fall. Now we are moving, let me make that point again. We are moving from east-west, right, to create the bob perimeter, but it's 0 lift with this cutting. That's why I like clippers, because it gives you that clean, hard line, and also allows things to go by very quickly. So you want that sharpness, right? But you want speed also in all things that we're doing. Again, guys, you notice I'm taking the comb and driving the hair from one direction back to that center. Not only am I using that center as a guide, but I'm also using the comb to get movement, guys. This is where you can create the haircut movement, the movement inside the haircut, not just with curling. They don't have to always sling their hair around. Of course, every bob client wants to do that, but you can actually create the movement with the cut versus having them to move their hair around or to do it with the curling iron. So that's one of the techniques I want you to show, is pulling it back to that 0 degree that we created at the very back. So I'm not even focusing on the front of the hairline, just that back nape. So now I'm taking about an inch on it, again at 0 degrees, and I'm taking my razor the same way you would taper down, right, in the nape area or around the perimeter hairline or in the temple. I'm using 1 inch, right, on top of where the bob kind of shaping, that concave shaping that we're creating in the back. I use the razor. This is my own just personal technique. Use it if you'd like, to kind of start creating that taper that we want, right? And it will start to kind of give you the guide, right, that will begin to show you where the hair is beginning to raise up, right, on the bob, right, on this graduation of the bob. So just by hitting it with that razor, it kind of creates a new bob, a new guide about an inch up. You don't have to use that technique, guys, but I wanted to try to throw all of the kitchen sink at this haircut to show you different ways to create this look. Now, without clips, what I'm doing is I'm taking that middle section that had that guide at the very bottom, the 0 degree, right? But now, the razor kind of created more of a graduation or broken up guide about an inch up. So now I'm taking, if you notice, the hair is at 45 degrees. So I'm climbing up the hair, right, carving out small sections underneath the hair and then pulling it at 45, right, point cutting into this hair, which is going to, at 45 degrees, it's going to begin to curve the haircut up to give you that roundness, right, or that graduation. You could do this with vertical sections, but I'm using horizontal sections, right, all at a 45 degree angle. How do I keep it measured the same? Look at my finger placement underneath the hair. I'm putting the same 3 fingers behind the hair to give me the same distance from where the hair is curving, right? Where the head is curving, or where the roundness of her head is and where the hair is. And you'll also notice that I'm doing a couple different movements at one time. I'm actually taking the section at 45 degrees, point cutting for softness, and I'm swinging it back to the center because I want the hair to have 2 homes. I want the hair to live in its natural fall that'll sit right behind her ear, but I want it also to be cut out of natural fall back to that bob, right, destination, giving the hair its own movement inside of the haircut, with or without curls. It wants to be back, right, to the center of her head, and it wants to live by her ear. And I'm going to create this type of movement, right, in the back of the haircut, in the sides of the haircut, and in the top, all the way around. This is why our haircuts, guys, can't be $25. When you put this kind of intention in a haircut, giving them that versatility inside of the haircut, these are $50, $60, $70 haircuts, guys, because they're not just one basic, form for everyone. I'm using the round and the curvature of her head to create, like I said, this movement to make it very, very customizable. So after I do that on both sides, I go up at a 45-degree point cutting into the hair, right? That whole kind of the occipital, right at the base of the apex, down to the occipital, down to the nape, that whole back kind of horseshoe section in the back. Once I get that solid, pulling both sections back to the center, all at 45 degrees, giving pretty much every hair in the back of her head two destinations or two homes. Now I'm going to carve out an inch on top, right? And just come and now connect all of the dots. Now I'm using more of a vertical, right, parting to put 45-degree angles to kind of create that shelf that we love on our bobs, right? I wanted to have a roundness closer to the nape, but I wanted to have a definite harder line, right, on sitting on top, going at a beautiful, angled, graduated, some would say 45-degree, coming from the kind of base of her occipital down to the jawline. And I'm going to have it a little bit more exaggerated on the right side. So now I'm taking vertical sections on top, pulling it down to the previous guide that was connected or that was created with that horseshoe sections with horizontal partings. Again, this is a way to kind of use gravity with our advantage without using a ton of clips. Now I'm going to, again, taking vertical sections, pulling them at the 45-degree angle, same way, connecting it to the guide that's underneath that was created with the horizontal sections, and also pulling it back to center to also give that hair two destinations as well. We want a ton of movement, not just graduation, going up from the nape up to the occipital, but we want the hair to be bouncing around as she's moving around. That's going to give her the compliments that she wants, guys. That's going to give her that who did your hair question by having this haircut to really have a mind of its own, right? So again, now just cross-checking a little bit, making sure that the vertical and the horizontal are all connected, staying focused on the back of her hair, not even thinking about the sides or the top or the apex or the fringe area, which we're going to do something a little bit different. Just making sure that there's no holidays, right? Like I didn't take any days off, and you can see that angle in the back starting to form. You can see it, right? Go back and look at it, creating at first horizontal, using horizon shaping or partings, and then coming back behind with the vertical sections, and then making sure to cross check. So now I'm going to take the side, right, kind of breaking the hair apart. Now the sides of her hair, or the left temple or the left parietal and the right parietal. But again, I'm trying to remember, I want to create that hard line at the bottom, right? This is going to have a little bit more movement. The back, we want to go right to the floor. The front, we want it to have a tad bit more movement. So it's a slight graduation that we're picking up, but primarily we're trying to just connect it to that back section, right? So we're making sure that the sides are connected to that harder perimeter line on the bob, but also we want to pull it as far back to the left side as possible, because if we can get our posture and come to the other side of the street, it's going to be as long as we can get it, in particular on this right side. So I'm standing her up, and I'm standing as far as I can to her left side and to my left side, but I want to make sure that it's still connected, right? Putting a little zero lift right here, but I'm doing both. I wanted to have the zero lift of this hard line, but I also wanted to move to the front. I hope I can get that. I hope that makes sense, because sometimes we're putting zero lift but no movement, so the hair just falls flat to the floor. And sometimes we're putting the movement in, but we don't make zero lift, so the hair has too much graduation or too many layers at the very bottom, and your eyes don't see that hard hard lines. So now we're going through and just cross-checking. We've got the back situated, guys. And now we're making sure that the top of her hair, again, trying to put 45-degree angles in most of the haircut. We're going to put a little 90-degree as we get a little bit higher, the top of the bob, but the primary parietal shaping around the, kind of the circumference of the head, and everything below the ear, guys, is going to be 45 degrees. Above that parietal ridge, we're going to take things up a little bit 90 to have a little bit more movement. Does that make sense? Around the parietal and below the ear, all at 45. That's what gives you that bob, right? And then atop or above the parietal, you can put a few 90-degree angles because they're going to be laying on top, right? Accenting the bob. Now, the fringe. Now, guys, there is clear, she's got some breakage, she's got some pieces that are a little shattered in the front from previous styling and extensions. We want to force the eye, force the hair to move to that right side and have a clear separation from her left shorter side and the right side that's a lot longer. Pulling it to her left side, my right, her left, and creating hard lines. But I'm pulling it so when I let it go, if you notice, guys, it's getting longer on her right. Now, you could freehand cut this, but we're trying to put the movement in every aspect of the haircut. And when we curl it, you're going to see, it's going to be bouncing around. If we just create everything and leave everything in natural fall, it'll be a beautiful haircut to look at, but the movement when she moves around is not going to be there. We've got to place the movement inside of the shaping of the haircut if we really want that outstanding movement and bounce with the hair. All right, now we had her standing up. Now we're bringing her back to the station and just cross-checking at this point, guys, just making sure that we've got all 45s pretty much around the parietal, below the ear, down to the nape. Again, when we get closer above the parietal, you'll see me kind of lift the hair more up to a 90-degree angle, but pretty much everything that's falling, right? Everything that's falling below the ear and the parietal, we want everything at a 45-degree. That's really what a bob. That's the number one angle you'll see with bob haircuts, right? And more of a layered haircut, right, is 90 degrees all over, or a blunt haircut is all 0. So you're doing a lot of 45s with short tapers, with natural tapers, with your diva cuts, and definitely with your bobs. You can really see that shape in the back kind of gradually going up, coming off on a very clear angle from the nape up to the occipital. Again, above the parietal, you'll notice now we're going 90 degrees and connecting all of the things together, connecting the right side of the haircut to the left side of the haircut, connecting the back of the haircut to the front of the haircut. This is where I just believe we should all be raising our prices. I think that this national average of $25 for a haircut is because I don't know if we're confidently placing in the variety, the variation, the different versatility in these haircuts, because I just believe with the different techniques that we're using on this one bob haircut, guys, this is talent, right? This is us taking our talents from our cosmetology schools, wherever you went to school at, wherever in the country, right? Shears is our symbol. So I definitely want us to consider to take our true talent of haircutting and raise that national average of 25, get that up to $45, $50, $60 for just your cut, guys. It's much more valuable than what we've been giving. We're looking forward, guys, to seeing you recreate this look in your salons.